What's up, guys? April 22nd, 2025. It's about just after 9:30 a.m. I think it's, Tuesday today. I just want to let you all know that I'm going into day 33 clean from Kratom. No Kratom in 32 full days, and as of 12 o'clock noon today, I will be beginning day 33. That's crazy. It's been over a month, and it's been a while since I made a video. Things kind of got wild there for a little bit. I was in the mental jungle fighting off demons of all shapes and sizes. It was pretty crazy. PAWs is some wild shit, man. I've felt like I've been consistently like tripping on psychedelics for sometimes for like the past, I don't even know, since day 20 or day 21. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Things got pretty gnarly there. I'm particularly sensitive to the post-acute withdrawals, so I don't wanna like scare you guys off. And remember, all of this is bearable. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. I broke through. I feel so much better now than I did just a week ago, and especially 2 weeks ago, and especially in that first week. I mean, right now, as I sit here, I'm feeling I can't even quantify it, like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times better. There's still a bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed. My energy isn't quite right. My sleep is working, but it's like disturbed. I'm waking up earlier than I should. It's taking a little bit longer for me to get to sleep. Sometimes I wake in the night, you know what I mean? But RLS, restless leg syndrome, is gone. So any insomnia that's coming to me is not a result of like acute, that feeling of the shitty acute withdrawals like restless leg syndrome. It's still very much there. That symptom can last for a while, but for me, it's let up significantly. However, I will say that it comes back every once in a while. So things kind of got weird past like day 21, if I'm being honest with you. I'm gonna have to pause this a lot. I'm rusty. It's been a while since I made a video, and a lot has happened between day 20 and day 32. For those of you that watched my previous videos, you'll know that it was around day 8 where I started to get like the mind goblins, the depression, the loneliness, like the head games, the mind games, right? That post-acute withdrawals typically brings to the table. This is a really difficult part for me to handle as somebody that's like, I don't know, I guess like maybe a little bit more anxious than the average person. I think I have like an elevated baseline level of anxiety, melancholia, like I'm sort of prone to it, right? I've gotten a lot better at handling that, and it's never been debilitating, by the way, so it's not like some clinically diagnosed thing. I'm very blessed, but I could be less anxious. I could be less down sometimes, right? But a process like this teaches you real quick how to like manage those emotions, how to get over them. And to be honest, I think I'm gonna be better off for it. Like there's a bunch of skills that I learned, especially when it comes to like the transmutation of negative thoughts into positive thought cycles, just because out of necessity, how to get through pause, right? I needed to learn how to not let negative ruminating thoughts affect me. And that starts with number one, recognizing when I'm negatively ruminating and just stewing in my mind, right? So I'm happy to report that I got better at that. But guys, I'm not gonna lie, days 20 to just like not even that long ago, a few days ago, were pretty fucking gnarly. And some of them, to be honest with you, are still gnarly to this day, but gnarly in a way that is bearable and so much better than what I was feeling a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and especially during that first week. So for the sake of time, I don't want to go back over the first 13 days or the first week. You could go back and watch those videos. If I remember, I'll put cards up there for you to click on throughout this video. Definitely click on those. You can see the journey that I documented for you here. I have kept a little record of what I want to say to you. I have a feeling this organization will be in vain though, because I'm still disorganized. My mind is still a bit scattered, but overall way more clear. Memory is better, but still just a little off. So bear with me here. But yeah, days 1 through 7, acute withdrawals, go back and look at those videos. To be quite frank with you, I consider the first 2 weeks to be acute withdrawals. That's just me. I'm particularly sensitive to it. Like they significantly die down after the first week. I mean, for some, many actually, they die down after like day 5. If you can get to day 5, guys, your acute withdrawals, you'll still be feeling them day 5, day 6, day 7, and maybe even onwards, but you can very much sense a decrease in severity. The waves aren't coming as frequently, right? The ebbs and the flows become further apart, less severe, and real growth, real yeah, just real growth is more noticeable. And I think that's like something good to hang on to. As shitty as you feel during that time period, if you hang on to those good feelings, like, wow, I can feel myself improving, even though I'm still shivering, I'm still sweating, I'm still having trouble sleeping, I'm noticing around day 7, day 8, day 9 that I'm having less trouble sleeping, that I'm sweating less, that, less of everything, less severe, which is a good thing. But then the pause comes, guys, and that messes with me big time. And I'm going to say that sort of started for me mostly around day 20. I mean, I was definitely getting hints of it as early as day 8. If you go back to my videos, you'll start to notice that I begin talking more about like the mental side of things, how I was starting to feel like more emotional, like I felt like my hormones were all out of whack. I was like getting sad, getting happy, getting frustrated, getting angry at things that shouldn't have any bearing on my emotions. Like a grown man like shouldn't be finding like dog food commercials to be moving, right? I made that joke, but that's like a perfect distillation, encapsulation of the emotional side of the post-acute withdrawals that start after that first week and a half that people tend to report. Being emotional over things, being sad about things, or even manic and happy, way high up there. I'm high on life, man. All of that was there. It was going from up there, high on life, man, I can climb Mount Everest right now. I'm only 9 days into my quit. 5 minutes later, you're down here. What's the purpose of my life? What am I doing? I don't deserve this. I don't deserve that. Just horrible feelings and thoughts. But they were mostly manageable from days 8 to like days 20. And I know that's like a big gap of time. And that's what I told you guys about. In the first week, we're counting the minutes. We're counting the hours of clean time. We're counting the days of clean time. It's like, I remember just waiting for the next day to come while abstaining from this seemed impossible. It seemed epic, right? And now my progress is measured in weeks, not days, right? Which is huge improvement. But I think like for this video, what I want to focus on most is the nightmare of PAWs or post-acute withdrawals, and especially the anhedonia, the joylessness, the depression, and most importantly, guys, the fucking anxiety. Guys, and once again, I don't want to scare you. All of this is bearable, and in a way, more bearable than the acute withdrawals. As soon as you can just like get over the first few days of pause where you're just committed to feeling nasty, like if you know that I feel really down right now, right? And when I go to bed, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm not going to feel that happy either, right? As sad as that sounds, if you could just commit to knowing that like, okay, for a chunk of time, I'm not going to feel happy or joyful at all, the days start to stack up fast and faster and faster and faster. And that's what I noticed. So the first hint of pause, depression, anxiety, hold on. My personal gang stalker's back. You guys hear that? Not feeling anything at all. Fight or flight response that you're going to be in. If someone took like
again, 2 subjects stand
shit, I'm already 8 minutes into this. All right, day like 15 to 20, the pause started hitting hard, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was like a vegetable during those days. There was nothing that fixed anything for a while. Like after the first week was down, day 8, day 9, day 10, day 11, like the first 2 weeks, there were so many acute, weird physical symptoms that I was mostly preoccupied with those. But once I got into like day 14 and started entering like days 20, 21, 22, that's where shit started to get mentally real and physical improvements became way more obvious. No chills, no sweating, no RLS, barely any insomnia. Any physical stuff I was feeling was bearable. But this is where the anhedonia just got fucking crazy. And I call this period of time the void because, man, it truly felt like I was in a void of just nothingness. All day, every day, a world with no joy, with no color, with nothing to save me, right? Anything that would bring me solace from discomfort before that, it was not working. I tried to watch TV shows, just anything to distract me, movies, books, shows. I couldn't even bring myself to scroll Netflix, guys. Fallout Shelter, my little game that I downloaded and was playing during the first week, 2 weeks. Couldn't even bring myself to do that. I mean, in fact, the thought of doing these things would disgust me. And I don't even know why. It felt futile to try and escape from the dread that I was feeling, from the aching loneliness, from the sometimes depressing feelings. Luckily, this time around, it was less depression and less sadness and more just pure anxiety and joylessness. Days 20 up until a few days ago. Now, let's put that back. Maybe like days 15, 16 up until a few days ago were pretty miserable, and I wasn't able to do much other than binge eat. It eventually got to a point where like the only thing I actually did look forward to was making food. So I guess that's a good thing for me personally, because I'm not trying to lose weight, I'm trying to gain it, right? So I found myself just constantly making food because that was the only thing that would distract me from the shitty mental feelings that I was feeling. I was really just riding the wave in a vegetative state. Nothing but fleeting distractions during scrolling on my phone would give me any type of relief. And even then, that relief would come only because I was distracted by a funny animal video or something like that, a cute animal video or something. You know, I couldn't sit there and watch a TV show or get like involved in anything. I couldn't read the news. I couldn't keep up with politics. I mean, why the fuck would you during withdrawals, by the way? But you get what I'm saying. So it was pretty miserable, man. Just absolute joylessness, dark, gray, nothing. I mean, like, there'd be some moments of relief, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man, like, there wasn't many moments of relief, especially from like day 15, day 16 to like day 25, 26, 27. Like, I was just sitting there and it felt like I had a fucking car battery attached to me. Like, the anxiety was still very present. So when I say like the acute withdrawals were not there, they weren't, but I still just felt anxiety constantly just coursing through my body. Not in the same way as that first week, but just nonstop anxiety. Still had an extreme aversion to going out in public, being around people, being around like very loud, busy places, if that makes sense. The fatigue was crazy, usually during PAWs, and I would still suggest this, even though it's difficult. Like, you know, I was hitting the treadmill for a while. I was going outside on walks for a little bit, but it got to a point, guys, where I couldn't even muster that. I had no energy. I was extremely fatigued. I felt like I burned out all my energy reserves, spending it on the first 2 weeks of acute withdrawals, which kind of worked out for the best, even though I felt miserable after that. It just got to a point, man, where I just rode it out on the couch. I'd do what I can. I'd lift weights here and there. I would eat well, eat clean, drink tons of water, and that's literally it. I would advise you try to be as active as possible. Like, this period of time for those of you that are employed and working right now is going to be tricky because you're going to feel like you're sort of muddy mentally. You feel like simultaneously more clear because you're not in a kratom haze or daze, but you're in a natural state of mental fogginess and disarray because of abstaining from that kratom haze, if that makes any sense. So in other words, I would take natural mental fogginess over the kratom haze any day, right? So in many ways, you'll have way more clarity despite the post-acute withdrawals, but still feel as if like you're walking through mud and thinking through mud, while simultaneously noting improvements such as improved clarity in other dimensions, improved memory and recollection, right? Improved recall, that was another thing. Your appetite is going to change. I found that after some time, genuine laughter began to return. But that didn't happen until I got to like day 26, day 27, like not that long ago, right? Which is why I'm still careful. It was just the quintessential example of emptiness, right? Emptiness in its truest form. That's what it felt like, the void, just floating in blackness, nothingness. There's no escape. There's no nothing that I can do to get out of this. I just have to sit here for hours and get through this. I'll exercise but feel no relief. I'll jog and feel no relief. I'll see something beautiful outside on a 70-degree sunny day without a cloud in the sky and not feel a damn thing. It was rough, but it was the perfect example of like time heals everything. I don't suggest you guys just sit there and take it while doing nothing like I did. I was just totally fatigued, totally just depleted. I don't have a job like I said right now, right? Like I quit everything to make sure I get off this stuff and get healthy. But I gotta be honest, man, like, yeah, activity would have helped me, but I tried to be active. I tried working out. I tried, socializing did help though, by the way. Socializing majorly helped during the period of the void, like days 16 to whatever, after the 20s, days 25, 6, whatever. That's about the only thing that really helped me. And even then, I didn't want to do it. When I was hanging out with my friends, I was feeling miserable mentally. I just feeling down. I wasn't very hyped. But then, when the night would end, and I'd go home, I would feel good that I went out. It's one of those things where in the moment you don't recognize that you're doing something good for yourself, something that feels good, until you look back on it in your memory. I guess that's how a lot of things are. But those were the roughest days for me personally, man. There's going to be more rough days ahead. Days 21 to 30, PAWs in full force, the void. The worst of the acute withdrawals were gone. Some still remained. Major anxiety, depression, frustration, anger, mania in a good way, like happiness, random bursts of happiness. But then when the PAWs hit, crushing loneliness, crushing anhedonia, joylessness, just loneliness too. Oh my God, I spent so many hours driving during that period of time just to see life, if that makes sense. I would just drive through populated areas where nightlife was going on and just people watch. I know that sounds kind of creepy, but if you're not a people watcher, dude, people are hysterical. I don't know if you know that, but like they're fun as hell to watch and hysterical. But anyway, like I was just feeling this like crushing, aching loneliness, the saddies, the baddies, the mind goblins, dude. So I'd go out and drive for like hours, man. And I'd just go around places that were especially at night. At night, oh my God, they would come in hot. And it didn't help, by the way, that when the worst of my PAWs hit, the weather plummeted, dude. Just nonstop rain, nonstop gloom, nonstop wind. It got cold again. Bros, oh my God, I just felt like I've been in like a hyperbaric chamber this whole time. Just like, wake me up after a month has passed. That's basically what so admittedly, there's more healthy ways to have worked through that, but here I am. It worked for me. And what I did was I just sat there and I took it like a good little boy. I've been a bad boy for years taking the K, and now I got to sit there and take it like a good boy, even though it fucking sucks. It's a joyless, colorless world, right? I still get bouts of that. Even right now, I'm making this video. I'm like, this is pointless. Like, who's going to hear this? What's the fucking point? Like, you don't even sound good. My mind is scrambled. Like, nobody's going to, derive value out of it. Like, I just feel that still. But I know it's not true, and it doesn't really matter to begin with. But, yeah, PAWs was gnarly, man. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. But I think you guys, I know you guys can make it through that. But you can't let it break you because here I am already. In the moment, it felt like it was lasting forever and would never end. But then all of a sudden, it started to lift. All of a sudden, one day, someday, like, day 24, day 25, day 27, I don't remember. I woke up without anxiety one of those days. Like, nothing. Like, almost feeling normal. And then the anxiety would hit later in the day. You see what I said earlier? You'll notice that the waves of acute withdrawals, right? They come fast, back and forth all the time, peaks and valleys, just nonstop all day, measured in minutes sometimes, feeling really good for 1 minute, then crushingly depressed for the next minute, then back up and then boom, boom. But those waves start to spread out over time. And that's what I began to notice. So whereas days like, 16 to like 25 were just nonstop anxiety, nonstop joylessness, anhedonia, depression, horrible shit, minus the acute physical withdrawals. After that point, I noticed things disappearing for a little bit and then reappearing a little bit later on. So I was spared throughout these days. I would wake up and expecting anxiety and not even realize it wasn't there. And sure, yeah, I'd end up feeling it real bad later, but fuck, man, I'll take a morning without anxiety. You see, so during this process, it's probably been the hardest bit for me, to be honest. The acutes were kind of, I don't want to say fun. I mean, they were awful, but like I was hyped to quit. I was excited to quit. Pause is tricky because you're worn down from the acutes and you just want to seek a way out. You want it to be over. And that's dangerous, right? You'll do anything to escape. And you could see hints of that in my previous videos where I was desperate to reach for something, alcohol, weed, whatever it might be, neither of which I have a problem with. But, you know, and admittedly, guys, I wouldn't suggest this, but the anxiety was so unbearable that like I did turn to alcohol quite a bit this past like week and a half. Not in excess though, mostly just like a glass of wine, right, a night. 2 beers a night, tall boys, probably not that great. And this is risky maneuvers, by the way, because those can make pause worse the next day, especially if you're hungover. But even if you're not hungover, look, alcohol is a depressant, so you want to be careful with that. It's sort of similar to drinking coffee during acutes. Some people choose to do it like me, but caffeine is known to make the acute withdrawals worse. It makes them flare up worse. It triggers them for some people, right? So many people avoid caffeine, avoid nicotine and stimulants because of that. It's the same thing with the pause and alcohol. But for me personally, the anxiety is what was bringing me to my knees because it was just unceasing, unrelenting all day from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. It just didn't go away for like that big chunk of time between my last video and like day 25, day 26, okay? So yeah, you got me. You know, I did turn to alcohol for a little bit, but I didn't drink or anything last night or the night before that. Actually, Easter weekend, I mean, it's Easter, so I had drinks and stuff too, but nothing sloppy. It was all strategic. And I'll tell you what, like, yeah, I felt lousy sort of the next day, but the alleviation that the little bit of alcohol brought me the night before, the alleviation from the anxiety, made up for it. It made it worth it for me personally. I wouldn't suggest you do this. I would never tell anybody, hey, to fix that problem, go drink alcohol. I would never do that, even though I kind of am right now. It just worked for me. I don't have an alcohol problem. It was a tool during a very difficult time, in the same way Tylenol, ibuprofen can be used as a tool during a headache or when you want to reduce inflammation or something. Damn, this is a scattered video. I'm doing better than ever, and yet this is probably one of my most scattered videos. It's just so difficult to explain. One of these days I'll get like a really well curated and refined video out to you guys just documenting everything. The fact is, it's just that there's so much to say, and yet perhaps it's best to say as little as possible because, yeah, there was so much going on, but in reality, maybe not that much was going on. It was just nonstop anxiety, lots of sadness, lots of emotional lows, lots of joylessness, a colorless, sad world. That's what it was. But here's the thing. If you don't let that break you, you will emerge into a world far more colorful than you're accustomed to, right? There's so much more color to the world now. I don't even remember it being this colorful before I started K, right? Dude, I would go through all that again just to capture the way I'm feeling right now, to be honest with you. So don't let pause wear you down. And remember, develop those healthy habits in those first weeks, because those are the habits that'll carry you through pause. But anyways, I just want to give you guys a quick update, quick, quote unquote, quick 23 minutes. Jesus Christ, dude. Can this guy stop chatting, dude? Quit yapping, dude. I don't know. Is there anything else? That's basically it. My mental fortitude is growing by the day. I can't believe I made it through that, dude. Just through sheer brute force. No distractions, no nothing. I just like sat here and like practiced mental alchemy and transmutation of my thoughts. And it worked. I would suggest actually going to work and going to the gym and exercising a lot, like but I didn't do that. I just fucking sat here and just dealt with it. Ugh. But it worked for me, and I think I'm mentally stronger because of that. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'll try and produce more videos, but like I said last time, guys, if you don't see videos from me, check the posts tab, and that's where I keep you guys updated on my progress via text, especially on the days where I'm just not feeling good. But tell you what, those days are getting I still don't feel great, but like I feel so much better, if that makes sense. And they're getting easier. The days are getting easier. They're no longer endless. I'm kind of excited to wake up now. I haven't felt that in a long time. I'm excited to wake up. And here's the thing, as bad as PAWs is, I was even excited to wake up on the days where I knew I'd have anxiety nonstop all day. Because that nonstop anxiety was still better than the shaking, the sweating, the shivering, and the doubts, the self-doubt of the first week, the first 2 weeks, right? The RLS, the this, the that, you know what I mean? Like it got to a point where like I wasn't even depressed anymore. I was just anxious nonstop. So it seemed like the most emotionally turbulent time period for me thus far was like days 8 through days 15, 16, and then maybe even up until day 20. And then starting with day 20, that's where the emotional stuff, the depression sort of like went away or became less noticeable, and just sheer nonstop anxiety, joylessness, anhedonia took over. And I'll tell you what, very challenging to beat, but it can be beaten. That's it. So I'll keep you guys updated. Sorry for the scattered video. I just wanted to do this because it's been a while. So I hope all of you are doing well, and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you're doing. Peace out.